I'd like to start by acknowledging that we're on the homeland of the many diverse First Nations and Métis people who have walked this land since time immemorial. We are grateful to work, live, and learn on the traditional territory of Treaty 8. And from there, go to our agenda. Any additions or deletions for this? Seeing none.
So I'm seeing number 17 on our agenda, but we don't have a 17.1. Are we not having a confidential item this evening?
Yes, yeah.
There is.
Yeah, but what you're saying is it doesn't have sort of a
It
note
usually
by it.
has 17.1 to indicate that there's something in that subheader.
There's actually, I believe, 2 items.
Okay, so are they going to be noted and listed?
They are, yes, we can just, one of them's dealing with personnel and one of them's dealing with negotiations. So that is sections 19 and 21.
I'm not seeing on the agenda, this is from item number 5, our minutes from the last time, 6.1. We were supposed to have a policy on the accumulation of points. I'm not seeing it here. Maybe I'm missing something.
I got involved with other reports and didn't have enough time to do it, so it'll be in the next meeting.
Okay, so 6.1 is deleted.
I also, sorry, am I still, is it me still?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I lost my place. 8.5. There's a op-ed piece that is in response to a South Peace News article. I'm wondering why, I mean, it's great that we have the RFD. Why isn't that letter, given that it's regarding labor, I mean, counselors are labor, why isn't that put in camera? Just the letter portion, not the actual request to have a discussion.
I'll ask our CEO what the...
Well, my thoughts on it were with the article last week in South Peace News, that was very public. So I didn't see anything wrong with having a public discussion in council for this evening.
Certainly. So land, labor, and legal, when it's personal comments, it's one thing. When it's speaking on behalf of the town and a town decision, that's rather disparaging and damaging, and there are repercussions to that. So I'm surprised that it's put out for public consumption as it is. As well, we've not discussed this. This is done unilaterally. I'm not sure what authority the CAO has had to put that forward.
Yeah, it was a response to the letter, but we can deal with it when we get to that, as opposed to, we're not really into that agenda item.
No, I understand. I'm just wondering if it should be in camera, because it's pretty, we don't vote on Citizen of the Year, something benign as that, and we take that in camera. This is a rather heated, emotionally charged, false public statement, and that's my opinion, of course, but this is your opinion. I mean, someone has written...
We could put that into the closed session, 17.3. That's all right.
I would like it public. I would like it public as well, because we're discussing what was placed in the newspaper. The public has a right to know how we responded and any ideas around that as well.
So Councillor Stenhouse, and Councillor Dunn, I agree with you. Like I said earlier, I want the motion and discussion to be public, but you've preempted a statement, in fact, which is based on, I mean, the very foundation not being accurate. So that's what I'm referring to as the addendum. I agree. I think the discussion, the points to be included should have been a council decision, not that of one individual. That query from the media came to mayor and council. It did not come to the CAO. We were asked to weigh in. I'm not sure how administration weighed in. Those are my questions.
Well, we can talk about it when we get there. We're not even at that point, so. I mean, the question right now is whether we want to move it to a closed session. And I can see parts of it could be closed, maybe should be closed, and other parts where I agree with it could be open. So it's kind of one way or another. So we got 2, 4, what do the rest of you think? Camera or not in camera?
I think it needs to be an in-camera item. There's gonna be some, I think some serious discussions around the way this was processed and handled, so I really think it needs to be in an in-camera discussion for me personally.
Yeah, I second that as well.
James?
Yeah, I guess it's gotta be.
Okay.
In camera. Closed session.
So we'll move that item into 17.3, which would be dealing with, now I just what that phrase following in here. I think it's probably 25, actually, when I'm looking at this. I think it would definitely could fall under that, section 25. Okay, so we've got,
I would just like to remind council, according to the MGA 1973, when a meeting is closed to the public, no resolution or bylaw may be passed at the meeting except a resolution to revert to a meeting held in the public.
Yeah.
say that again, sorry, I'm trying to follow you there.
It's MGA 197.3,
Okay, what does it say? Just,
that you will not make a resolution in camera. It has to be brought back to a public meeting.
yes, yeah, we know that. We've been doing that.
No, we haven't.
Absolutely, we don't make resolutions unless we're in the public meeting portion of it. That's what you're saying. You can't make a resolution while you're in camera. It has to come back to the main meeting portion. Yeah, okay.
So, sorry, I'm not done with the agenda. In keeping with that, you just reminded me of something. We made 2 decisions at our in-camera meeting, last council meeting, that are not reflected here. I was going to bring that up in the minutes, but it's sort of relevant to what you've cited. Are we going to add those into the minutes? Because we made 2 decisions after coming, no, in closed session, yes, but they have not been reflected in our minutes.
But we can't make a resolution in a closed session.
You're right, but they're not reflected in our minutes for 5. So we had 2 decisions. No, we made decisions to proceed moving forward. We had the discussion confidentially, which we did in camera, but we made 2 decisions coming out of that which are not reflected here.
Well, we talked about that at last meeting, that saying that we don't need to make that motion. Right, and we can talk about that a little bit more, but we talked about it last meeting and said there wasn't a need for a motion coming out of that session.
And under 14.1, the Bill 50 Municipal Affairs Statutes Amendment Act, I don't see a motion or how, what direction or motion or resolution gave the mayor authority to contact Minister McIver. Where would that have come from?
That came from me.
unilaterally from you?
Yes.
Okay, and that's allowed now, that you speak on behalf of all of council?
Yes, that's my role, is to speak on behalf of council.
Where is that reflected, Mayor? Which part of the MGA?
I would have to get the MGA to look it up, but I am the spokesperson for council.
Well, can I cut in here? According to the MGA, number 180.1, a council may act only by resolution or bylaw.
You most certainly are the spokesperson when we have agreed with discussion of council that, you contact the lawyer, you contact so-and-so. We've always done that in the past. This was a unilateral move, not sanctioned or authorized. It's not part of governance where I didn't even know about it.
You did know about it because you spoke about what this was about. So what our mayor did, as a leader should, is he spoke. He wanted to find out, where did this information come from? How is it that we don't know that the town of High Prairie is in conflict because we followed what the MGA said, told us to do. And so he phoned to get information, and that's appropriate.
So two things, Councillor Dunn. If any of the members here, including our administration, would have attended the town hall specifically designed for this purpose, there was a town hall on Bill 50 on April 15th, I believe, the same day as beautification, which is why I was not able to attend beautification. My apologies to the chair. It was at 6 o'clock. I looked at the 200 participants. None of them were our councillors, except, and if I missed someone, a lot of what you were asking was addressed there, Councillor Dunn. And yeah, I knew about it after the fact. I'm surprised. I mean, there have been a lot of actions in the last few days over the course of Good Friday, Easter Sunday, the Pope passing. I mean, as a devout, born and raised Catholic, I wasn't sure where to go because this took up days of my time responding to all of the allegations that have come forward. So I'm not sure why none of you thought to attend that town hall.
So we're getting way off topic. We're on the agenda. We're dealing with an item that can be talked about once we get there, if you have concerns with it. But so just to recap, we have amendments. We are removing item 6.1. We are clarifying the item 17, that there's 17.1 personnel, 17.2 is negotiations, and 17.3, which was local public body disclosure harmful to the interests of the public body.
So for a point of clarification, Mayor, 17.4 negotiations, is that land negotiations?
No,
Land, legal, or labor, which,
it's intermunicipal. Okay, somebody want to make a motion with those amendments? Councillor Waco,
As amended.
all in favor? Carried. Moving on then to no scheduled delegations, public delegation. Come on up.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just want to make sure everyone got the email regarding beautification I sent yesterday. We did make an error regarding the tools. I want to make sure we're aware of it before your discussion tonight. I apologize for that. When town said they didn't buy tools, we said we'd better check our books. The long and short of it is they did not, as I said in the email, and I apologize. I just want to make sure you all read it before you debate the item later in the agenda tonight. That's all.
Okay.
Judy, you all got it? Read it? Good, thanks.
All right. Moving on then to our peace officers report. Get a motion on this one.
The council receives the senior peace officers March 2025 verbal updated board information.
Perfect, thank you. And we'll turn it over to our,
Morning, Mayor. Good afternoon, good evening. I get it right, yeah. I apologize for this, not having a written report, but under the circumstances, I thought a verbal would be more. And to have Brady come and be formally introduced to everybody here. And he can give a brief update on what he's been doing in my absence. So I'll turn it over to Brady.
sure, welcome Brady.
Thank you. So for the last 2 months, I've been dealing with a lot of unsightly properties. I have about 17 files on the go in the town of High Prairie right now, all including unsightly properties. Along with that, I've towed 5 vehicles out of the 17 notices that I've sent for derelict vehicles. I have plans to tow another 5 more next week, provided that the tow operator is available. I've been dealing with a lot of trespassing in and around the town. Just common unhoused people not having a place to go. So I've been assisting them with trying to find resources and relocating them to places where they are welcome in the community. I've been responding to and dealing with lots of dogs running at large. I've had 7 calls over the last 2 months. One of those calls resulted in an animal being brought to the animal control facility, where they were not picked up and had eventually been put up for adoption. All the other remaining dog issues, the dogs were relocated back to their owners and fines had been issued.
I'm gonna elaborate on the homeless council.
Oh, and we've located 4 homeless encampments over the last 2 months. We've taken down 3 of them, and we're in the process of taking down that last one come next week. We're just trying to locate the individual that is set up that encampment so we can try and take 2 steps ahead and prevent further encampment issues with that individual. I apologize, it's kind of all over the place. I've never done a meeting like this before, so.
That was good, good summary, yeah.
Thank you.
Anything to add?
Just trying to think of what, it's been 2 weeks since I've been back. And feeling fine, other than today I issued my letter of retirement. So, just for council's information. I will be retiring.
It's a wonderful thing, I can tell you that you'll love it.
That's dated for 2030 though, right?
Well, you'd have to discuss that with my wife. She beat me to retirement, so. Anyway, I will be here till end of June, but I appreciate everybody, past and present, that I've dealt with and worked with. And that concludes.
All right, we'll open the floor for questions, and I see Councillor Martin's got her hand up.
Alan, it's really good to see you.
Thank you.
We'll have to compete on whose retirement party is bigger and fancier, but anyway. Brady, that was an excellent report. It was good to meet you for the first time, and I was going to ask 2 things. One, did you have any challenges with the tows that you performed? And secondly, these 4 encampments, the 1 remaining, are those, as you walk through JC Park, you know, that area, is that the ones you're referring to?
Most of them, yes, have been in JC Park. There is the one that I'm currently talking about that has been kind of left as is. Under the bridge entering town near the Dairy Queen and the hobby shop up there, there is quite an enlarged encampment underneath the bridge. There's a very large tent with a ton of garbage kind of everywhere. The only reason that we've left it as is we're hoping to locate the individual who has kind of set up that encampment, have the conversation with them, and then see what we can do to kind of try and further prevent something like that happening, either in the same spot or in a different part of town. And then to go back to your first question there, I did receive a few challenges within the town. There was a little bit of kickback from the residents. They didn't necessarily agree with the bylaw. A lot of the main issues that I've heard from the residents is the fact that it's, you know, their property. Why are we dictating what they can and can't do on their property? I've tried my best to explain the bylaw and why they're in place. But beyond that, I wouldn't say I've had a whole lot of issues or complaints, just the general consensus of why are you taking something that's in my backyard, it's my issue type thing.
Yeah, I hear you. Thank you so much. Great work in such a short time. Welcome.
Thank you.
Councillor Stenhouse?
Brady, you're doing a fantastic job. Alan, I want to direct this question to you, so that, not to put Brady on the hot seat, but in these encampments, there tends to be a lot of stolen property. What do you do with this stolen property? What do you do with that stuff?
We have in the past, if it's significant, like power tools and stuff, we give to the RCMP. And if
Like the bikes and.
the bikes, well, we have a spot that we keep bikes, and if anybody's reported them stolen, then we can return them, but nobody seems to report bikes stolen. And we got in there for fairly expensive.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
Other than that, yeah, it goes to the RCMP, and then because they have the serial numbers and stuff there.
Okay, so if my bike was stolen, I would come to you first or go to the RCMP to recover it?
Well, whenever they get a bike, they call us.
Okay.
So we have it in our
Yeah,
facility, so yeah, they can come to us or whoever, and then give us a brief description, and then if we have it, it goes back to them.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anyone else? Councillor Waco?
Alan, I remember sitting around this table when the town hired you, and thank you for, what was it, about 100 years service, probably feels like. And Brady, welcome. Take a good look at his hair.
Yeah.
You're gonna get there.
Yeah. When was that going when I started?
Yeah, I remember. Brady, you said that you're helping these houseless people get to some of the services or whatever in town. Like, is it you've got something set up with the Meta Center and all that? You talked to them or some of the other outfits in town that deal with that?
So not directly. I haven't spoken with anybody or coordinated, I guess, anything myself. But what I mean by providing resources is, I'll search things up for these guys and give them basically information off of the web. So not doing anything too special or going too far out of my way. It's just a matter of like, hey man, you look like you could use some assistance. I know of these things. This is what's available. If you choose to use them or take them, then that's your choice. But if not, then that's your choice as well. It's just one other option to provide them so that they have something to think about or a resource to use.
That was something when we were at the Alberta Communities Conference. They talked about those having one of those roving outfits there that sets up and puts people in touch with the social services that they need. Perhaps we should touch base again with the government and see if that's something that can be revisited or light a fire under their behind to get that over here, because I mean, if they can get the help that they need and if it gets them off the street, then it's a good thing. So let's reach out again and revisit that.
All right. I just want to say it's great to hear those unsightlies are getting cleaned up and some of the derelict vehicles. I think it will help our town look a lot better, so thanks for working on that. And I know that the town recently inherited a property that would fall under that category. I'm just wondering where we're at with that property, and is it getting started to be cleaned up?
Yeah, so the property has actually been, the trailer that was on the property has been completely demolished and the lot has been cleared out. So the first week of April, the demolition crew had come in, tore down the trailer and the shed that was on that property. They had come in the day after with some garbage bins, and the lot was all cleaned up, and it looks a little bit messy right now because some excavator tracks have made the mud and the grass kind of all torn up. But in the sense of garbage and derelict vehicles and all of that, it's been cleaned up, and it's a clean lot. It's ready for sale.
Wonderful. And of those other unsightlies, I'm just, I know there's some of them with vehicles. You were saying you had 5 moved and 5 more to go. And so there's probably some others that don't have vehicles. What are the issues with most of those?
Just garbage and refuse kind of being scattered all over the yards and properties as per se. So once I'm kind of done dealing with the derelict vehicles, my plans, and the snow melts and kind of the grass dries up a little bit, I had plans to reach out to some contractors to hopefully help get those properties cleaned back up and in nice repair.
Oh, perfect. I know Alan can tell you that that's one of our challenges throughout the year, is keeping on top of cutting grass and that kind of stuff in those areas.
Yeah.
Great. Welcome aboard. It's great to have you. And Alan, thanks again for all of your service over the years.
Thank you.
It's been good. Yeah. And you will like retirement.
It will be a change.
Absolutely. A good change. All right, no other things for peace officers?
I was just gonna say thanks, Alan. You know, it's not often you have somebody that stays in a position as long as you have and allows the town to get to know you, and you've done an awesome job. So I appreciate that. And Brady, thanks for coming on and just moving ahead with things too, giving Alan a bit of a break.
Yeah, he deserves it.
I left it in good hands, so as you've heard.
And he's got the nice new vehicle that you won't get to chance. And just one last thing, are those traffic signs coming in? Are those speed limit signs? What's the status on those?
Yes, so the order was placed at the beginning of April, and they're currently in the procurement process. I had actually just sent an email to Traffic Logics a couple days ago, and they had gotten back to me with an answer of April 30th of a ship date, and then basically however long it takes for the truck to get here after the 30th. So by mid next month, the signs will be here and they'll be up and installed.
Perfect, great.
Solar power.
Councilor Martin.
So again, having this, my first interaction of meeting you and hearing you speak, I'm really impressed. You feel like an old hand. I'm shocked at the fact that this is your first foray into the role. That was one. And my question was, have you liaised at all with the Citizens on Patrol group? Do they know you? Do you know them?
I have not had a chance yet to fully meet the full Citizens on Patrol group. I've met a few here and there as I've been doing patrols around town and dealing with things, but I haven't necessarily had the chance to full on meet everybody yet. But I would be 100% open to if there was a date and time where I don't know if the Citizens on Patrol have meetings every week or every certain kind of time frame, but I would be more than happy to attend a meeting and introduce myself to everybody.
Yes, they're a regulated society, so they have regular, like a chair, or vice chair, whatever. If it's okay with Alan and or administration that you be on that roster, then you'll get the emails and you'll be in the know, and they'll have your contact and so forth.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. We had a motion to receive their report for information. All in favor? Carried. Moving on to minutes, 5.1. Any errors or omissions in our meetings from April 8th? Councilor Martins?
Yeah, so number, what was that, 16.3, my written report isn't attached, and I know, Wendy, you've got a copy of the, so that's one. And my other point was 17.11, that we didn't actually disclose our decisions post-meeting.
Yeah, we talked about that one a little bit already, but we were in camera, and when we were in camera, we discussed whether we needed a motion. And council said that we didn't. It was, I'm gonna just say business as usual, so we didn't really need a motion was what was decided there. Well, what do you, yeah, go ahead.
In the discussion, there was supposed to be a written form that we agreed upon. That should have been
Well, we
acted
can,
upon.
yeah, we can work on some of those things, right? That's part of the in-camera part of it that we're gonna continue to work on. And that's part of our agenda for tonight. Okay, so we have one thing we could add on the report. We can attach it on. That would, do you have that report for record? They do, okay.
Okay, so
I've been going through when will the amendments be corrected and posted?
Well, we can, if we will post with the one amendment of adding that on, and it will be posted on the, I'm not sure, but it should be posted on our website after we've approved the minutes tonight.
Because I've been going through past meetings, and we agreed to accept it as amended, but the corrections were never made. The incorrect minutes are still on our website. The corrections were not made. And that's been a month.
Do you have a specific case in mind? That we can
Yes,
look
it
at?
was when we were discussing, I believe, the procedural bylaw on contacting a lawyer. I asked for a recorded vote, and the minutes reflected the opposite of what the recorded vote is, and it's still not corrected on the website.
Well, with that specific item, maybe bring it up to administration, let them look into it, and then we can see if the corrections were made and why they haven't been posted with the corrected ones, or if they're not been corrected, we can revisit that. But yeah, so contact administration on that specific issue. But going back to these minutes, motion on that? Somebody make a, no, oh, I gotta back up one step. We need a motion to accept these minutes. Counselor Wakel,
I'll make the motion that we accept the minutes with the addition of Sasha's report to 16.3.
all right,
Written report, I should say.
okay. All in favor? It's carried. Moving on then to Peace Library System Agreement. Get a motion on this one?
Are you missing something?
No.
No, it's page 12. I
Oh,
believe.
sorry, I forgot we're omitting that.
Oh, no, sorry, that's not page.
No, we're omitting
8.1.
6.1.
Oh, something's, yeah.
I'll make the motion. Council approved this agreement and the signature is added to the clean version as an endorsement.
Okay. Discussion on this? Counselor Stenhouse?
So I have a comment. I will be voting against this motion for the simple reason that I received I received the ICF, this huge agreement. I have not had, over the long weekend, on an Easter weekend, there was 2 stat holidays in there. For me to, I was unable to clarify some stuff, so I'm voting against it because I'm not fully prepared.
All right. Other comments on this? Counselor Wakel?
It's, by and large, it's just a housekeeping, a lot of it. It's not drastically changing anything. Some language has been cleaned up in it. Make it a little bit more lawyer friendly, I guess you could say. But it's for all intents and purposes, it's the same agreement that we've had with Peace Library System.
Counselor Dunn?
The information in red, can you explain that to me? And because I had questions around some of the things you have in effective date of the agreement, shall be the first day of January, 20,265.
Oh, no.
On page 21. Effective date, Article 2 there.
You crossed out 5, and it starts January 1st, 2026. Now it's
Looking to the future.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Because there's, so throughout there's crossed out.
Yes.
So, and I'm assuming this is a stock agreement that goes to all of the communities that are in the Peace Library
Yes.
Association? Councilor Martins?
Councillor Wakel, 2 things. Has our library board reviewed and approved this?
This isn't for the library board to approve, this is for the town.
Right, I know it's
The agreement is between the town and Peace Library.
I know, but do they not look at it? No?
No,
They haven't passed
no,
on it?
the agreement is between the town and PLS. Our library is a member. And I missed a lot, and you know what, honestly, I can't answer that question for sure that they've looked at this, simply because I did miss the last library board meeting. But the agreement is between the town and PLS.
Okay, as a member, I'd want to know what what the PLS system was looking at. Who's the alternate on the library board? Like, who's the alternate committee member? I don't know.
Might not be.
That was question one.
There is no alternative.
Okay. Okay.
But can we assume, was there any issues from the library with the Peace Library Association agreement in the past?
No.
And secondly, is there a deadline by which this agreement has to be in place, Councillor Waco?
Well, I mean, it goes into effect on January 1st of 2026. So I would imagine they want it before that. Are you thinking that did you want to put this on hold so Councillor Stenhouse had a chance to go through it?
And myself too, just to fine tune that, but yes, please, that would be great. If we've got 6 months as a runway, yes, please.
I don't think there's any harm in pushing this off to the
Can you,
next meeting.
James, would you be able to find out, like, what, I guess for me, I just want to know, is the red, is it all new stuff
Yes.
added? Okay.
Okay, so what I'm hearing, Councillor Wickle, you're amending your motion?
Yeah, I'll amend my motion that we push this off to approval at our next meeting. It should be the first meeting in May,
Okay,
whatever that is.
any discussion on that motion? Councillor Shishin?
Yeah, no, good idea. I have the same question. Was that all new? Because there looked like there was a fair bit in red, but then when I started looking at it again, there was some crossed out, but I think that clarification would be.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
And that it's it's just the stuff in that was added for, like I said, legalese kind of thing. But I'm like as I made my motion, I'll push this back to our first meeting in May to come back so we can. It'd be nice to have a unanimous consent on this, since High Prairie was a founding member, maybe the founding member. Chris would know this better than I do. With our librarian that we had back in the day was pretty instrumental in creating the Peace Library system. So Jean, I was going to say Jean. I couldn't remember the last name. Yeah, Jean Lewis in the 80s.
She lobbied unsuccessfully to have the Peace Library head office here, as a matter of fact.
They got a nice building. It would have been great to have it here.
Well, that was before you went to the Moose this year.
Yeah. Well, no. They're the Peace Library did have this.
Please clarify, the
Okay.
red is all new.
Yep.
But there's red with lines across it, those are to be deleted, okay?
And it's hard to work with these kinds of Word documents when you have to right-click and get them out. And whether it's spelling or eliminating sentences, it's always a little awkward in Word, but the lines across means deleted.
Yeah.
Red without a line means added.
I think it's because it's a living document. It's like, here, we'll put this in, and they're like, no, we're going to put it this way. Okay, so we made this change, but we changed it back to this. But yeah, I'll give them a shout and clarify that. If you got any specific questions that you have, just fire me off an email there, and I'll contact the office there and go through it all.
My question, I'll just give it to you verbally, was
Yeah.
around the rate. It says in this agreement it was not more than 5% in a year.
What page you on?
Up to, is it 52?
62.
62, okay. Or 38, it's also 138, Schedule B. But it just says the raise in levy may not be more than 5% from the previous year without approval of at least 2/3 of the signatories of this agreement. What do we normally had for increases from them, do you know?
Off the top of my head, I do not, I'm sorry. But I'll find out. What are normal increases?
Yeah, what is it? Because 5% a year is fairly significant.
James, how many are part of PLS?
What's that?
How many are part of PLS? So what would 2/3 be? How many oh,
Yeah, they're in the agreement.
Yeah, significant.
Page
15
32.
municipal districts,
Or page-
23 towns,
Page
4 Métis settlements, and 22 school authorities. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's in a few spots.
Yes.
So 42 altogether. And then there's school authorities and others. Okay, we have a motion to bring this back to the next council meeting.
Yeah.
All in favor? It's carried. Moving on then, 8.2. Respect in the workplace policy, get a motion on this. Councilor Dunn,
The council approved the respectful workplace policy as presented.
Excuse me.
just gotta get up to the speed with you there. Okay, we have the motion. Any discussion on this one? Councilor Martins?
so this applies to both the social media policy and this one, love them. That's a fantastic move to bring them on to like OHS requirements, I think. I'm surprised that we haven't had them, but I'm all in favor of them in premise and in theory. I haven't been able to really look through them. I would like the opportunity to do that, to see if there's anything we've missed, anything that could be reworded. For both these policies, I'd like to maybe table them to May 6th. That's just me, or I'd have to vote. I have not been able to look through them in detail.
Councilor Stenhouse?
So has the bylaw committee met and reviewed this and gone through it before coming to council?
It's a
No,
policy.
it's a
Yeah,
policy.
bylaw
Administrative-
does policies also,
That's
It's-
administrative policy.
but the bylaw committee does review the policies.
That's the case, yeah,
Well,
I don't mind.
there's been some discussion on that, like we didn't have enough time to get through it in the past. I know there was a discussion on whether we wanted to limit it to bylaws, just to get through the bylaws, and then policies could come here. And I think that was the last place. I know the bylaw committee hasn't met for a while, but I know under our former CAO, that was his preference, was just to go with the bylaws and not the policies.
Well,
And, yeah,
according to the MGA, number 153, general duties of councillors is to participate generally in developing and evaluating policies and programs of the municipality. So that means
that's what we're doing right now.
we're just approving it. We haven't,
Well, this is a chance to have your input in on it. You don't have to just approve it. We're asking for any feedback on these policies. This is exactly what we're doing.
so who requested this?
It was on my own initiative, because I noticed that we didn't have a policy and all municipalities have this in place that I've been part of and that I'm aware of. So I thought I'd bring it to council as a draft.
Okay, so this is just a draft then, or are we
Even
approving
social-
it tonight?
Yeah, for comment by council. I mean, this is,
If you're happy with it, we could approve it. If you want to see changes, we can make changes.
Yep.
So may I ask, has everyone here had a chance to really review it? Generally, things that come to our agenda are things that we've previously stated, hey, let's bring this to an agenda. This is out of, I mean, I love it. Like I said, I'm in favor of both of them. I think they're needed, but we haven't talked about them. We haven't even looked at them. It's been a long weekend. I have not. Has everyone had a chance to parse through this and look at each one of the items? So I'm seeing 3 no's, so that's pretty much half of council. Can we bring these 2 policies, give us some more time to look at them? I'm totally in favor of them. I just have not had the chance. Is that okay?
And I would suggest that we make it more local. Just because, yeah, because it is based on BC's. Out of the province of BC. So. Sorry. Yeah. Just so you're aware.
Where are you seeing that?
It's in
Just so we can be
yeah,
specific, he can make those changes as
Yeah.
opposed to, because I read through this.
So if you're
I didn't
looking at
catch up.
page 10 of, page 10, or page 83, I guess is,
Oh, yeah, there it is.
There we go, BC Human Rights Tribunal.
yeah.
Okay, no, I've got that, that's good.
Good catch.
Yep.
But as Councilor Martins is saying, there's lots of really good stuff in here. So, but as always, right, is when you get stuff in regulations and stuff, it takes people to determine that that's what you're going to do. Right? If you can have a set of rules, but if nobody follows them, you're still in trouble.
Okay, would you be willing to make an amendment to your motion?
Can I make a motion that we table this so that people have an opportunity to go through it and read it and make possible changes or come back with suggestions that will help make the document.
Just where, or you're pushing
Giving
it
too many
to
words.
May
13.
May 13th.
May 13th, okay.
Do we want to include the next,
Well, let's do that one separate.
do it separate?
Okay, all in favor? Oh,
I think the terminology that you're looking for is postpone, not
thanks.
table.
Till May 13th.
Councillor Danaka, you didn't vote here in favor of
Postponing, yes.
postponing. Okay, gotcha, okay. Moving on then to social media policy 8.3, Councillor Martins.
I move that council move the social media policy to the May 13th meeting, so that we have a chance to properly review.
Okay, any discussion on that motion? Councillor Stenhouse.
So we don't want to send any of this to the bylaw to proofread it and then bring it to us? Because usually the bylaw committee goes through it and hashes out most of the errors.
Councillor Danaka and Councillor Winkle.
The bylaw committee was strictly bylaw. We didn't deal with any policies.
We never met for 2 years.
We never dealt with any policies. Even when we were dealing with, when Rod was here, strictly bylaw. When Bill was here, we had one meeting where he was going to redraft the terms of reference because they didn't include certain things and whose responsibility was what. And that was the last time we met, but it was always strictly bylaw. And the policies are here now, which we're reviewing, and we will bring it back to the next council meeting. Everybody will go through it and pass it then or not.
So is there any chance, since we're going to be doing a policy, that we will have a policy on the credit card usage and points?
May 13th.
And that'll be sent out to us prior to the meetings for review?
As usual, yes. Just like social media policy, just like everything else has been included in the agenda.
All right, we have the motion to postpone this until the next council meeting. All in favor? Carried. High Prairie Beautification Society, can I get a motion on this one? Councillor Martins?
That council direct administration to refine an agreement or an MOU, which is a memorandum of understanding, with the Community Beautification Association.
Okay. Discussion on this one, Councillor Martins?
So MOUs are fairly standard. I think that, we've gone back and forth in the past year or two regarding missteps. We agreed for a number of reasons. One, I think it strengthens our partnership with beautification. We, after all, this is the town that's being beautified. Community image happens to be one of our top 3 priorities, so it's aligned very well with our strategic priorities. Secondly, I think just for business continuity, it's a good practice. There's turnover, staff turnover, council turnover. A lot of the things that I've learned in year 3, let's say, has come through osmosis. I mean, there was an example I had. Some of the things that we pass along or when we have orientations, they're not comprehensive. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I'd love to see an agreement. There's no disparity that way. There's no disagreements. And if there is, it's easy to, with something in writing like an MOU, it's easy to move forward. And really, this is a town initiative. I just think, why not?
Anyone else? Councillor Daneka?
I agree. It's always best to have things in writing from an organization with the town, so the town is very aware of what our responsibility is and to beautification and vice versa. We've had some glitches here in the past with who was supposed to do what and where or whatever, so let's just clean it up, have some type of simple agreement, and it's there for both parties and future, as Councilor Martin said, future councilors, future employees who are, okay, who's doing what? Here it's laid out in a simple agreement, and it can be reviewed every year, every 2 years, whatever both parties agree to.
Okay, yeah, and I agree too, and, I think beautification does a good job with the light up event and with the flower planting, so that's great. It's really good to have those volunteers in town that step up and do those things. It makes the town a better place, and if an agreement makes that partnership work better, I'm all for it if that will help and beautification's on board and our administration can work through it and come back with a template agreement for us and agree with it. Councillor Stenhouse?
So, yes, beautification, they are truly a volunteer group. They do not get honorariums. They don't do anything. And this is a form of communication. They've had some grief from us because there's no instructions. I echo everybody's sentiments, and this is one agreement that we should have because like I said, they've had so much grief and they are trying their best to beautify the town. And true volunteers. They don't accept a dime. They give all their own time, planning, involved with schools, everything else, so.
Just to reinforce it.
Okay, Councilor Martins.
Thank you. You know, to our administration, as you're planning this MOU or agreement, something Councilor Stenhouse said made me think of the fact that, yes, they are truly volunteer run, and perhaps it's time for council, like, honestly, I didn't pay attention to beautification, like, you know, again, there's so much that comes at you in the first couple of years. I saw a couple of the members planting at that block, and that's how I started to become top of mind. And recently, there's been invitations to attend the meeting, so I put more thought into it. I'm just wondering if council can do more, you know, either through volunteership, maybe put that on our, just like we have with the gun show, we have a little schedule, maybe something like that, not to make it laborious, but maybe, you know, we could, and again, we're planning this in a silo. Let's have a conversation with beautification and see what it is they might want, where the gaps are that we could fill. Just thought I'd throw it out there. When I heard the word volunteer, I thought maybe it's time for us to see if there's any gaps that we can fill.
You know, up until a couple of weeks ago, I wasn't aware actually that there was a beautification committee. You know, this fits in well with the economic development report. You know, it's part of that beautifying and making people that pass through to stop. You know, and some consider, you know, and our contributions are somewhat in kind and, you know, some monetary, but, and we've had great clarification over the past week, going back and forth, getting Chairman Clegg's perspective on things, and then getting my own leadership team perspective on the issues that were contentious or that had some friction. So I think we've clarified a lot, and to get a memorandum of understanding would be very good for both parties. I think, you know, as I'm speaking for myself, administration, it's something that we can consider contributing more for the 2026 operating budget, but this year, you know, we'll continue on as normal, but at least we can smooth the relations between the two parties.
Okay, so we've got the motion to basically direct administration to work with beautification on an agreement or an MOU. All in favor? Carried. And we will move 8.5 into the closed session, so we'll move down to item 13.1, CAO's report and action list. Can I get a motion on this? Councillor Dunn?
The council received the CAO David Joy's report and action list for information.
All right, with that, I'll turn it over to our CEO. If there's anything you'd like to add to this or highlight.
Well, highlight that certainly, you know, last week, what I didn't include in here because the report was written prior to Wednesday. You know, I did spend additional time creating that response to the South Peace News. But other than that, with the action items, the action list, we've really taken a lot off. A lot of items have been completed. I did talk with MMSA today, Kaumiete, and he's going to provide us with the final draft of the telecommunications policy.
Okay, anything else before I open the floor? Nothing. Okay, opening the floor for questions, comments. Councillor Wakel.
Of the Zoom meeting with the Triangle water line study people go.
Yeah, I wanted to get Vern together with the Peace River engineer and there's an engineer from, I think the state was Arizona, to clarify where they were. Vern had already answered some of their questions concerning the water supply and what we could and couldn't do. Further communication is going to go forward in the next few weeks. And Vern's going to give a report on May 13th to council, and he'll be, in the interim, he'll be discussing this with the Peace Road.
Anything else? Councilor Stenos?
So I have a couple. So, I see that I guess I should start with our ad in the paper. Our notice to tender on, let's start with the sidewalks. Okay, so our ad in the paper says that the closing date is April 25th, but I've noticed they've already started ripping up sidewalks. Has that been awarded already?
I'll have to talk to my manager of roads. Get more information on that.
There's a couple blocks that they've already ripped up the sidewalks and removed it, but the tender does not close until the 25th.
I'll ask.
Yeah,
It might
just
be-
to make sure that we're on board and we're not handing out,
I'm sure we aren't. We wouldn't allow them to work unless.
I did notice a company name on the equipment and the vehicles there that were ripping up the sidewalks.
And
Is this stuff that's left over from last
it
year?
could be.
Yeah,
Let me
well, if you
find
could,
out.
yeah, if you can clarify that.
Yeah.
So then, from that, it brings me to, again, our notice for tender on the basketball court. So in this tender, so okay, we agreed upon a set amount. But it's not saying, because now they're looking for a tender to do it and come up with plans and what the design will look like. I thought the recreation was doing the design. So what I'm leading up to is, so I've noticed they've already started ripping that out. And again, the bid date closes on April 28th, but they've already started ripping out the playground. So there's a couple questions to this statement.
Okay.
Are we repurposing that equipment or offering it up to someone?
I will ask.
Or is it just going to the dump? I could not find, do we have a policy on disposal of town assets? That would answer the question as to this old playground equipment.
That's a good point. And most municipalities do have a policy, but let me look at the list that we have.
Yeah, I did go and look, but as we discussed at the committee of the whole, you try to open up something and it kicks you out or bounces you somewhere.
Okay, Councilor Wakel?
That playground equipment was no longer safe,
That's true.
so no, it's not being repurposed.
Okay, so, good point. So that brings up another point. So when we buy new fire equipment, it's no longer safe or certified, but we give it away. So how is that any different than this playground equipment?
Well, I know in Fort St. John, we gave away a fire truck so the Firefighters Association could use it as a mobile barbecue for community events.
Yeah.
So things like that. it
And
would
we
be-
have been giving away unsafe, uncertified, out-of-date fire equipment.
And
So
it could-
how would that be any different than the playground?
There could be some trade-in on the old equipment, but I can ask.
If you remember what Trevor said, is that stuff that is outdated, it's not that it's not good. it's outdated, so we have to buy new stuff. And they use that, he said that they use that stuff for practice and things like that, right?
Yep.
So that they're not using they're not putting hours onto the new stuff.
But if I recall, some of that stuff was
Like it's
sent to Mexico and stuff like, given to Mexico. So that's what I'm saying, like, the question has been raised as to what are they doing with that old playground equipment? If somebody wants it in their backyard, why not? It's their choice.
It's
What is
liability
it?
on our part.
Why?
Selling defective equipment
We're not selling.
Doesn't matter.
or giving it away.
Ultimately, we're the source, we'd be liable.
Okay, so all the benches that were removed in town, were they unsafe? Where are they?
They were removed because of requests from business owners and vagrancy and the massive messes that were being left behind,
Okay, so where are these benches?
probably in storage.
So if we have a disposal of town assets, why would we not dispose of these town assets?
Like which, the benches or the playground equipment?
Let's
The
put-
playground equipment was just unsafe. So, I mean, I don't think that there's too many people that want to put their kids on unsafe playground equipment.
Well, I was approached by somebody who may have been interested in it.
We can't take that liability. Because it comes from us, we're liable.
Okay, so did it go to McSteel for recycling then? Where is it?
Well, that I don't know. That part, I don't know where it went. But it was deemed unsafe and could not be recertified in any way, shape, or form. Is the report that we got at beautification, at recreation.
So I'm still looking for, what are we doing with this stuff that is pulled up? Where is it going? Is it going to the dump? Is it going to the recycle? Are we going to donate it to Mexico?
I don't know where it's from. It's
I'll
quite
ask.
probably to the dump.
I mean, fair question, but I'll ask CM and David.
And check on our asset disposal
Yep,
process and
Yeah.
policy, because
Yeah.
it is there. I know it was talked about before.
I know, and it, like we discussed at committee of the whole, that it just bounces me all over the place.
Good questions.
Okay, so I think that is it at this time. Oh, no, sorry. I know we discussed this just a few minutes ago, but on your action list, the credit card policy has been removed from your action list and it's not completed. It doesn't even appear there anymore.
Okay, well, I think I put it as completed because I did write out the policy, but it's been deferred to another meeting. That's fine. Fair point.
Because we just don't want, because we don't want to lose what we wanted.
Yep.
So if it's been deferred, maybe we should just stamp it deferred
Yeah.
instead of just,
I'll
get
I'll
lost
put
in
it
that
back
bucket.
on the list.
okay, great. Okay, I think that's it for now.
I just see you had mentioned one thing about why is it that everything's being dug out and the tender doesn't close till later? And how much money, because we set an amount, just like any of our things, they give us an estimate on what it's gonna cost. And once they get that, if it falls within the budget amount, they will go ahead and do it. If it falls outside of that amount and they need more money, they would have to come back and ask if they could get more money. So that's the way all of the bids have worked on most of these purchases.
Okay, but can I just read you a couple lines from this? It just says, provide a design for a 8x5 and 6x4 full-size basketball courts. Was this not already decided by the rec committee, what you guys were doing? Now you're looking for designs? Because there's a picture of it and it says refer to the picture below, but yet they want the tender to provide a design. Submit product details of the materials to be used.
Yeah, that's common. Give them the option of what are they gonna put in, how are they gonna do it, and then you can look at, see which one you want.
And it also says, so this is one tender. It also says, the courts on the existing cement pad, but yet we're, on another tender, we're looking for someone to install that cement pad, so we're going 210. What I'm worried about here is somebody's gonna be coming to ask for more money on this. So these are two different bids for the same project?
I think there's two parts of it. One's the cement pad and one's finishing of the cement pad with I haven't seen the tender, but you have to finish the top of the concrete pad with a special coating. And that's probably what the second one is what would you put down? How much would it cost to put these courts on it? And paint the lines.
And actually, that just reminds me with that comment, when we put out these tenders, should we not be including that we reach out to our local suppliers for bids or to consider our local suppliers?
We do, it's on a common website, both a purchasing website and on our own website. So it's well communicated out. We do prefer local, but we don't pass over High Prairie or Slave Lake or Peace Region. We're all one region, one county. So, no, like, we would prefer giving it to local as long as it's not too expensive or
Yeah, no, I just want local to have an opportunity to bid on it, because it's been brought to my attention that one of our local suppliers was not even considered to give a bid.
Yeah, you'll have to email me who that is and what bid it was, and I'll look into it. It's what?
We have a concrete plant right here, and concrete was trucked in.
Okay, it might be.
But concrete truck doesn't put down, that's just part of the tender of who's gonna lay the concrete pad. You don't put out a separate contract on that, whoever gets the bid to put in the pad would decide where they're gonna get their concrete. Well, of course, chances are it's going to be local, because to truck it in from any distance is gonna be much more money, right?
Yeah, but they did it. When they did they weren't even considered to give in a bid. They went, the offer wasn't even there for them to do.
Then they need to deal with whoever got the contract, right?
But we're putting up the tender, we should put
the bug in the ear that we have these local resources here.
Absolutely.
Please consider our local resources before you start trucking it in from another town.
But ultimately, it's the contractor that makes that decision of where they want to get it for that price. Councilor Martins?
So I would think that, the newest things, like we're selling that, the tourism booth next door, we're putting out these tenders. I would think that things like that, or the newest, by date, it's just the most logical thing. The newest things rise to the top. But our website is odd because it's the opposite. It's the oldest things. That's the 2024 is the first action item or listed bulleted item, and 2025 falls to the bottom. And I cannot still find. I told one gentleman who was interested in putting a bid in to please call town administration or the office to get more information. I couldn't. I searched, couldn't find it. So I'm just wondering. We discussed this a couple of weeks ago. I'm just wondering what the action plan is. We've talked about it before your time, during your time. What is the plan to actually get top items that are most relevant listed? Because
In the website, yeah.
yeah, because
I
it's
agree.
the opposite. Like we have 2025 isn't like the stuff that we're talking about isn't on our. I'm just on it. I screenshotted our homepage.
I don't like our website, and it's something I will look into. It's going to cost some money, but it's inadequate, the links are broken,
Right.
everything.
I know you're talking about, kind of outsourcing. That's a bigger plan. Phase one, just to get, we're obviously putting things on day to day, so we have that ability. Why are we not putting newer items on? That is not a big shift in design, scope of work. It's not a big redo. It's just, I'm just wondering if there's a reason why our items aren't listed chronologically with the newest being up top.
Well, my legislative services communication person, new in the job, so we will look at this and come up with what we're gonna change, and I can report back to council. That's a valid point.
It could be just a flaw with the website, that when things get put on, that it's just not bumping up. It could be a setting somewhere that whoever our provider is has to switch. I don't know if we have the power to flip anything on there.
Yeah.
I know there's, with the program that I use at work for our work orders, is I can sort it by work order number, I can sort it by date, I can sort it by alphabetical, don't do it by alphabetical, it's horrible. So I mean, we do it by, same way, newest first, but I can also flip it, so new stuff's at the bottom. And you're right, that's bad. Now, I don't know if that's something that we can do, or if our provider has to do that, but it's a good question.
If it's older and it goes by algorithms, we're going to see the oldest, because algorithms pick up what's been used the most, right? And so because they've been on there longer, they've been used more, they get bumped to the front.
I understand. This is not based on that. This is a CMS content management system. If you look at the back end, this is not based on social media algorithms. So that while true for social media, doesn't apply to our website, which is static. You know how in social media you can pin something so that it always stays on top no matter what? It's almost like that's being done. And so that's the question. We've discussed this before, so I'm just wondering how long, what's the expectation? Will we know here? I mean, shortly or by the next meeting? I'm just wondering what the cadence is for time.
Okay, well, we'll certainly, Wendy and I will certainly look into it.
Okay, anything else for CAO? I had a couple of questions. I'm wondering how our desktop table exercise went.
I did attend. Everything's well organized. There's certainly at the county experience with this, and they've got a person there that gets contracted out for the province. Very impressed with how smoothly everything went. And they cover all the bases.
Oh, that's good. So it went well. And I mean, we did have some issues when we had the fire at our doorstep, and they had fires going, but I know they worked on fixing those, and so it's good to hear that it went smooth. That's what it should be. Yeah. And what's the Community Kit demo? What is that?
Again, this is communication, website kind of ideas. He sent me something this morning, a proposal to look at, so I haven't looked at it yet. But, it was just a cold call from this company a week or two ago, and I went through a video, a demonstration, sorry, and I thought, well, this is interesting, and we may be interested in this to improve our website.
All right, and the last thing is, if you're talking with MMSA, I know at our strategic planning, we had talked about possibly getting a subdivision plan for our vacant land. Did you ask them about that? Did they say that was a yay or a nay?
I think I sent an email a couple of weeks ago, a week and a half. I can't remember, I may not have, but let me.
Okay, yeah, I just wondered. Well, it wouldn't have been that long, it would have been, because we had a, I think they will do it.
So I talked with Comiet today, and he mentioned something else, and it might have been the subdivision. Okay. it was a little hard to understand.
And the other thing I know was the deadline for refusal of municipal taxes on the action list. I did look into that, and the motion is not reflect what we were asking for. And when I went back to the video, it was regarding the province had indicated that they were, how was this, the properties that would be exempt from taxes back then, which ones would be exempt? And we were to see if we could choose, or if there was a deadline on which we had to decide which properties were in and which ones were out, was really the question at that time. Because, yeah, did we have to, because we had the choice in there of which ones we could exempt. They wanted them all exempt. And, yeah, that's where it was at. But I imagine we already, because our assessment is done, those decisions have already been made. Yeah, and we could have asked our assessor when he was here at the committee of the whole, but I didn't know at the time. I couldn't remember that meeting. So that's what it was about. If you wanted to go and look at it, it's on November 26th, part 1, at around 1 minute and 30 seconds left. So it's right at the end of that part 1.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the motion there and what we were talking about just ahead of it.
Okay, good.
Councilor Martins.
David, last couple of weeks ago on April 9th, the lady from ISDAB administration had reached out. Did we ever close the loop on that?
Yeah, she talked with me this morning.
Okay.
She's gonna, they are looking for a member of the public. That councilors and administration can't volunteer for this. And she's going to, they wanted to know if we're in agreement with the quorum of 3 on the committee. And I said we were, and she has to reach out to one other municipality because the rest that she contacted, the other that she contacted said they were in favor, 3 is a quorum. So that phone call was just this morning. So I expect by Friday I'll get some more information from ISDAB.
Good.
She had asked about 2 representatives from our committee. You know that we have 2, correct? Did you? Because February 12th of this past February is when the Bailey had sent it out.
My impression, she's only asking for 1, but I can reconfirm that with her. But, I thought this morning she was just looking for 1. I may be wrong, but I'll reconfirm.
Councilor Stenhouse.
So just one more thing, if you could add to your action list. We approved the minutes and from our last meeting at 8.2.1, it was the asset management plan development. And the motion was that council accept this report for information and that it be brought back to council in 2 weeks. So that it doesn't get lost, can we get that put back onto your action list?
Okay, anything else? No. We had a motion to receive for information. All in favor? It's carried. Moving on to our council correspondence, starting with 14, or with the volunteer recognition dinner invitation from FCSS.
Well, you kind of missed the date on that.
You've missed the deadline, so that one is receive for, I'll make the motion to receive for information.
Okay. Yeah, they had a deadline of April 16th, and we're already past that. But we normally don't send anybody to it anyways.
No,
Councilor
I don't
Patricia.
know if that matters too much. They were aware that it was coming out late. So, I don't,
I'll be there. My kid needs a ride.
Okay, all in favor? Carried. Moving on to funding for affordable housing from CMHC. I'll make the motion and receive this for information. Any questions on that? All in favor? Carried. 2025 FCM conference registration period open. Motion on this one? Councilor Dunn? Any discussion on that?
Well, given that it's, I mean, it's in Ottawa, it's very close to the election. I know usually we send one or two people, unless it's in Alberta, then everybody goes, but we can skip this one.
Would you like to open it up? Is anyone interested?
The only thing I was thinking about on this one is it might be, I mean, there was the delegation that suggested we go to Ottawa and chat with the MP about crime and seeing if we can, get some, number one, change the criminal code, number two, see if there could be more funding for the indigenous police forces, which might lead more RCMP members in our community to do policing. So I was saying there might be an opportunity to connect those two. That would be the only,
But is that something that FCM, is that something on the agenda? Is that we're going to approach government, or is that something you're gonna have to set up on your own?
that would be done on their own.
Yeah, because I don't see.
I was just saying they could
Unless
be done
it's-
at the same time, so you're,
Yeah.
that was the only thing I was thinking of with that.
Who would you meet with then?
Well, there was the minister of, I don't know, there are not minister, the MP for Indigenous Affairs, because they would have the dollars to increase money for Indigenous policing. That was, again, I don't know if that would help, but it might not hurt. You know what I mean? That's, well, are they all of a sudden gonna say, yeah, we'll have some more money for your community? And then the other issue would be with, I'm not sure what MP, but an MP to deal with the catch and release that's been part of the government, federal government protocols on that. So those would be that was what was suggested.
I'm still, we need to bring it from this level to that level first. We can't go from here to there. We need to do our steps and get our local MLA, our local MP involved, all that. We can't, yeah. Receive for information.
Okay, we have the motion for information. All in favor? Carried. Request for funding, High Prairie Ladies Auxiliary. Get a motion on this.
I just have a question on this.
We'll start with a motion.
I make a motion that council directs administration to potentially see if this is an ICF item. Because I'm assuming, because they have Big Lakes County, that it could potentially be a split. So it would be $8,000 per year for the,
Well, 10 grand each.
well, yeah, 19, whatever, so.
So if it's gonna go to intermunicipal, before it even does, is there an appetite from our council to proceed with this? Because no use going to intermunicipal if we're not in agreement or don't think this is something that we should do. And if we're in favor of it, we could be in favor with the condition that they are a partner in it. So that's where I'm at. If we're not in favor, then there's no use going to the intermunicipal because we're just gonna veto it at the end of the day anyways. So where are we at with $10,000
yeah.
for TVs?
Is it the role of a community to provide TVs for their patients in hospital? Should that not be the patient's family making that payment?
I
I
can,
mean, it'd be nice. I know when I'm sick, I like watching TV, but that's the reality, right? I've always paid for it myself or.
I can get, we had this discussion at the Health Foundation meeting. And the comment from one of the members there was that some people can't afford it, but they should have the ability to be able to watch TV. And so, you know, maybe that somebody would do that. So somehow that's gotten around to asking the town and the county. And I also know, and this is some of the more wealthy communities do fund this activity. So it is done by some municipalities. I don't know for sure which ones. I was told about, and whether it's true or not, but it came out in that discussion that the MD of Grand Prairie does for the Grand Prairie Hospital. So I've just thrown that out there as information. I don't know if it's true or not. So yeah, that's where I'll leave. Councillor Stenhouse?
Shouldn't this group be going after the fiber people who provide it? I'm sure they're making a profit. I think they're asking the wrong people. They should go to the provider, whoever it may be. It may be TELUS, it may be whoever it is. That they should be the ones sponsoring this.
And I guess to add to that, so when people can't afford to watch TV, why are we increasing the burden for people that are having a hard time already paying their taxes to pay for people to watch TV? That becomes an issue for me. I don't know, like I would suggest that they get, because we do have wealthy people and we do have people with that big hearts that would definitely want to help somebody they couldn't. Why don't they do a system where if somebody comes in and can't afford, or the family can't afford, that they have a fund for those people that other people donate to on a regular basis? When you're asking a tax base, you have to look at the impact of people that are, you know, probably 30% of our people struggle to pay their taxes as it is. And why would we increase that base or that amount because somebody else can't afford to do it, right?
Councillor Yashishin?
Yeah, I think there's other options. I mean, you know, I don't think TV is just everything. It's, you know, it's the be all and, I mean, there's books, there's magazines, I know there's some of the health concerns with that nowadays, but yeah, I just think there's other opportunities, you know, if they're able to, they're a little bit more mobile, maybe they can see out the windows, they can go to the main, you know, kind of viewing rooms and, but yeah, I would say it's a little bit more of a luxury that we're asking. I agree with Councillor Dunn, you know, to be putting money towards, and I agree with Councillor Stenhouse as well. I think there's other groups that would best serve that. purpose as well, so, I mean, it's nice, it's a nice ask, but I think it's the wrong location for it, place for it.
Okay, any other comments on this? Councilor Waco?
I was gonna suggest going to our friends and neighbors in, our surrounding, reserves and settlements and seeing if they would chip in some in there as well. I mean, if you split it 7 ways, it's not so bad. I mean, I understand what you're all saying in that, but, it's, that'd be a question for Marilyn, I guess, to see if they were gonna, maybe that can be suggested to her to approach them as well.
Okay, I know there was a suggestion there that maybe the provider would give free TV. They have apparently approached the provider, and it wasn't Canadian Fiber Optics, but I believe it was TELUS that said no. Yes. Oh, they do have TVs in many hospitals, right? Like it would be but I'm just saying,
But you know,
and like you say, there might be donors out there or
right,
somebody
yeah,
else.
put
I'm
it
just
out
saying.
there, like, you know, you,
And that's what they're looking for.
you accumulate, let's say, TELUS points, and it's like, so here's our catalog, well, instead of doing that, throw it towards, TV to the hospital rooms. This is just, pretty much making the public more aware of what's going on.
Okay, we have a motion from Councillor Danaka to bring this to ICF. What I'm hearing around the table, and I might be wrong, is that it's not something our council is in favor of. Would you like to change your motion?
I withdraw that motion and I make a motion to receive the letter for requests for television sponsorship from the Ladies Auxiliary for information.
Okay, any discussions on that motion? All in favor? It's carried. Nurses Week declaration, can I get a motion on this one? Councilor Wakeland.
I move that we declare May 12th to 18th, 2025 as Nursing Week in High Prairie, because those are our frontline heroes, and nurses put up with more crap than anybody else in that hospital. So it's best that we recognize their contribution.
Okay. Any other discussion on that motion? Might add that we advertise it on our social media and
Social media, billboard,
billboard.
yeah. I'll throw it in the paper for what it's worth. I'm okay with that too.
So we all understand the motion?
We're advertising on
Social media and our electronic board, we're not buying an ad in the paper.
Do we have a standing ad in the paper? Oh, Shanda left. We used to. If we have a standing ad, yeah. Only if there's a standing ad, right? Like where sometimes we're, oh, what the heck are we gonna put in here today, right?
We clearly don't have one because there's a lot of things like the shed being out, we haven't put, so we must not have a standing ad. We can do a new yearly one, but we don't have one today.
Yeah. Okay, so just, social media and the billboard.
So could we see if it would be a story of interest for Mr. Clegg to put?
He does have our agenda package, so if it's of interest, he will look into it. It might be something for our attraction and retention committee to see if there was something to do on that date, or, I don't know, lunch, a picnic, I don't know what, because there is some dollars there for that committee to do things, and this might be something for it. All right, we got the motion. All in favor? Carried. Request for municipal acknowledgement, Alberta Disability Workers Association. Get a motion on this one. Councillor Seno, oh,
Okay,
Okay, I'll receive it for information because I think it conflicts with our nurses week.
No,
third Monday in May.
that's the third one.
No, it
It
said
says
the third
Monday
week.
in May,
Oh,
so it's kind of deceptive there.
I'll make a motion to receive for information.
Okay, discussion on this one? All right, no discussion, all in favor? It's carried. Moving on to Bill 50, Municipal Affairs, the letter from Minister McIver. This was information about there's information session. I'll make the motion, we receive it for information. Any discussion on that? All in favor? Carried. Request for support for the Ken Sargent House in Grand Prairie. Motion on this one. Councillor Martins?
I move to receive for information.
All right. Discussion on this one? Go ahead, Councillor Senhouse.
I would like administration, direct administration to send a response letter to them. Saying we received it, unfortunately, we can't do that, not, I don't want it just left, like, we forgot about them, I'd like a response sent to them.
Well, that's, yeah, and we can maybe, we got the motion for information though, and then she can probably add if that motion passes to notify the foundation. Yeah, that'd be,
Absolutely. I would say receive information and direct administration to write a nice letter of receipt and wishing them all the best.
any other discussion on this though? That's assuming that we don't want to fund it, but there is the other option. It's a very good cause. We do send lots of residents to the Grand Prairie Regional Hospital. However, it's, they're looking for an ongoing ask and approximately $30,000 a year. It's a big ask for a relatively small community. I think it's fantastic what they're doing.
Correct me if I'm wrong, James, but did you not ask the delegate if they had packages or information that we could get to pass on to the public? And was it,
Sounds like something I'd say.
did we receive anything that we could?
I haven't noticed anything. Has anything come to the office? I'd have to look through my emails.
I can't remember, there was two delegations, there was this one and another one, and if it was, I thought it was you that asked, is there something that we could pass on to the public, some information or pamphlets or something, and I thought they said they would.
Yeah, I don't know, I'd have to dig.
Which one it is?
I'm sure it
Might
was,
have been Musqua, I think. The Musqua,
it wasn't this one?
I don't think so.
No.
I think it was the Musqua. I'd believe. But maybe it was this one, I'm not sure. Okay, we have the motion to receive for information and send. Yep. All in favor? Upcoming meetings. We have one tomorrow night, everybody's remember that one? And then we have, I see the schedule is this for the gun show. That's, it's got, John, Therese, and myself.
Thank you.
All right, anything else coming up? Next year, oh, all right, we can move on then to, oh, yes, go ahead.
Bedroom rate.
Yes, we'll take a break and then we go into our reports.